Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up and take command. I, of course, am your commander-in-chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. This was not a planned live stream, obviously. I was going to give my 53-man roster projection video, do that locally, upload it, keep it pushing. As I'm preparing to do the video, my wife says, "Oh my God." I told you, anytime she says, "Oh my God," while she's looking at her phone, it's never good. I ask her, "What is it?" She proceeds to tell me Brian Robinson has been shot. I said, "Not our Brian Robinson." She's like, "Yes, our Brian Robinson." I'm like, "Let me see the phone." I take the phone, and lo and behold, Brian Robinson shot multiple times during a robbery attempt. Non-life-threatening injuries, thank God, on this beautiful Sunday. In stable condition, thank God, again. And wow, unbelievable. Like that fast, shit can change. Just like that. Anytime I'm dressed in all black like the Omen, something is wrong. There's a splash of burgundy because he is alive and well. At this point, football, moot point. We literally just dodged the bullet. Okay, that's a poor choice of words on my part. That was a close one. I don't know what this means for him, roster-wise, what this means for, obviously, I don't know. Everything right now is just crazy. It's hard to even process everything right now with that sitting there. I mean, he's such a huge part of what we envisioned this season being. And I can't even tell you if this is a situation where he's going to be able to help us at all this year. And again, football is the last thing from my mind when I hear somebody's been shot. I don't give a damn about football. It's almost hard for me to even talk about the 53-man roster, but I know I still have to do it. But this definitely has an impact on the roster. It has to. And again, I don't know the severity of the situation. I don't know where he was. I don't know if he was back at home in Alabama. I don't know if he was in D.C. after the game last night and it happened. I don't know if he was in Baltimore and this happened. I don't know when this occurred. I don't know or how it occurred or where. I just know it's scary. It's scary. So there's so many, layers to this. There's so many ramifications from this because clearly they've got decisions to make based off of his health. And you hear non-life threatening, you hear he's in stable condition. Well, that doesn't mean he's okay to play football. Okay. Just means he's not going to die, which is the first thing that enters your mind when you hear that someone's been shot. Is he okay? And I'm always leery of hearing something happen to someone and then believing that they're okay just because someone says they're in stable condition. Need I remind you that Sean Taylor was quote unquote in stable condition. And then I went to sleep and woke up and he was dead. A good buddy of mine that was a baseball teammate got in a car accident. We had a baseball game that day. Our coach told us that he was okay and that he was in stable condition. We finished our baseball game and he's dead. So I'm not quick to just go off of he's in stable condition. I'm not sure if Brian Robinson's okay or not. That's scary. Very scary. Hopefully, what we've heard and what's been reported is true and that he is in stable condition and that the gunshots are non-life threatening and that he'll be okay. how this impacts his football career, where the shots that he sustained were taken. We don't know any of these details right now. Okay? There could have been flesh wounds. There could have been some serious bullets where they say, hey, 6 inches this way would have shattered this artery and you wouldn't be here right now. We don't know. I think this impacts the 53-man roster now, because in my initial 53-man roster, I had 3 running backs. After this development, how can you not keep a 4th running back? Does Brian Robinson now start the season on the PUP list? I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, but I can't tell you the severity of this, situation and how this is going to impact him moving forward. But you've got to keep a 4th back now. And now some other position is probably going to have to trim off the fat. I'll go through this exercise with you. This is crazy. That's all I'm going to say. This is absolutely asinine. If it's not one thing, it's another. It's this black cloud that just hovers over this organization. Unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season. Like this, we were just at a preseason game last night. What are we doing right now? Sometimes my mind is boggled by other people who simply just can't go out and get it themselves. They got to try and take it from somebody else. It frustrates me to no end. But anyway, blessings on top of blessings to Brian Robinson, his family, and everybody that's been involved. So glad to hear that he is in stable condition. I'm going to assume that what's been reported is correct. I'm just a little nervous. You can understand why. I just explained to you why stable condition doesn't usually sit well with me. But it's better than hearing that he's fighting for his life right now in a hospital. So I'm going to go with stable condition because it makes me feel a lot better about the situation. Let's hope that that is in fact true, that he will be released from the hospital here shortly, and we can start to get to the rehabbing process of this situation, because it's not only physically, it's mentally too. This man just got robbed at gunpoint, essentially, clearly. And whatever happened, he ended up getting shot. That doesn't just take a physical toll on you. It also takes a mental toll on you as well. This shit is disturbing. Makes me sick to my stomach on this Sunday evening. Anyway, let's get to the 53-man roster projection. I don't want to keep you here longer than I have to tonight because it's Sunday. I know you got better things to do. Again, this was not planned. This was supposed to be an upload, and you watch, you keep it pushing. Again, I didn't anticipate this happening the way that it did. So I will jump into the 53-man roster projections that I have. A matter of fact, I'll take your comments real quick, and then we'll get into the 53-man roster projection. Because I know some of you have something to say. C-Lord, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. C-Lord writes, prayers up for B-Rob, hoping for a swift recovery. Amen to that. Amen to that. Prayers up. Hopefully blessings come down, right? Swift recovery. That's what we're hoping for. And not even just in a football sense. I just want this man to be able to get back to normal, standard operating activities on a day-to-day basis. Mr. HTTR, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mr. HTTR writes, prayers up for the kid. I literally found out after I drafted him in fantasy football. They were, he got shot right, and then I thought it was jokes. Bet it was close to home. Speedy recovery, my boy. I just saw something in the comment section as I was scrolling down. We're not gonna start no stupid ass frivolous rumors, okay? Cut that shit out. Somebody talking about they heard that Antonio Gibson had something to do with it. Please stop that shit, okay? Seriously, on some real shit. Stop that. That's not funny. I don't care if you're not sure. Don't even spread that shit. Don't even type that shit. Okay. I'm not mentioning it again, but I'm just telling you, stop that shit. Take command for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "This is just sad. So glad he's okay." I second that. Very sad. He's not dead. Thank God. Again. So it could be worse. I'm a glass half full guy, but you just hate to see this. It's senseless. It's unnecessary. This is so avoidable. So glad he's okay. So glad he's okay. All right. Jason Rogers, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Uncle Jay, writes, "You made a solid point, Lou." I'm assuming that was supposed to be you made a solid point, Lou. Prayers up, young bull. I'm just glad he's all right. I mean, that's all I can. When my wife told me that Brian Robinson was shot, my heart dropped because I didn't know if the next thing she was going to say to me is that he didn't make it. She just said he got shot. And my first thing was like, stop playing. Like, that's, of course she's not playing. She wouldn't say something like that. That's not funny. But it was just, my heart was like in suspense. And then when I found out, they said it was non-life threatening and that he was in stable condition, it was like I could then exhale. For a second, I couldn't breathe. Donald Gray, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Donald Gray, writes, "We got to do better. Teach the youth the right way." I mean, I wish it were that simple, man. But these young boys out here, they see somebody driving in a nice car. They see somebody with a nice necklace, and they over here starving, and they see a lick, and they feel like I'm about to go hit a lick. And I wish it wasn't that way, And for those of us who have never grown up in that environment with that mentality, you'll never understand where they're coming from. I just hate it. I just hate that somebody works this hard to get to this point of their life, and how they spend their money, how they decide to, go about their business is on them. Whether they got a flashy car with rims and a loud sound system and jewelry, that's their prerogative. But he worked his ass off to get to a point where he can afford those things. Why do you feel like it's okay to try to take that from that man because you don't have it? That's the shit that bothers me. That's the shit that bothers me. But that's crazy, man. Redsican American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "Wishing B-Rob the best in a speedy recovery, not just physically, but mentally as well." Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Barrett Downing, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy BD, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, "Thankfully, he's still here. Blessings to him. Blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings." Indeed. There's a higher purpose for him. He's He's not done yet here on this earth. Apparently, it was a carjacking. That's what I'm seeing everyone say in the comment section. Obviously, there was an attempted robbery. It probably was an attempted carjacking. Whatever the case may be, it's just crazy situation, man. Take command for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, I'm just still in shock. Cruel world. I think it took a while to process for probably most of us. You hear that. You don't want to believe that. I just saw him on the sidelines last night. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't want to be over dramatic. He's not dead. Okay. And I'm so glad that he is okay, reportedly. But that's just crazy. And you guys know I talk about this all the time about not putting off for tomorrow what you can do today. You know, a wise man once told me, don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. I always talk about, loving on family members, not holding frivolous grudges against people that you love and care about, because tomorrow is not promised. Here today, gone tomorrow. We talked about that with the Dwayne Haskins situation. We talked about that just in general. Like, be the best version of yourself each and every single day, and make sure you let the people that you love know that you love them. Give people their flowers while they can still smell them. Be the bigger person in a situation, because there is no guarantee for any of us. This is another example of that. Gladly, we're not talking about another young person gone way too soon. Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I pray he pulls through and lives long after this. Amen to that as well. Mexican Cracker 89, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, police have a person of interest, Antonio Gibson. Yeah, right. Like I said, I'm not entertaining foolishness. If shit is serious, then we can have a conversation, but I'm not entertaining foolishness like that. I should have probably read that one before I even said it. That was dumb. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, man, prayers for Brian Robinson during a carjacking. I'm guessing these shots were at point blank range. So glad to hear he's stable. When are we going to stop doing this to each other, Lou? I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I could tell you, man. I truly do wish I could tell you that there was a solution to this, that people would stop doing this to each other. I got nothing for you, JL Smooth. I can just tell you this. And he's not from DC, right? So he doesn't probably know what areas to frequent, where he should or shouldn't be. But it can happen to you anywhere, honestly. But this is the reason why a lot of people don't go back to the neighborhoods that they, grew up in. Because you can love the hood, but the hood don't love you. Okay? And so, again, he might have been at a stoplight. Anything can happen. They see you with a nice whip, they roll up on you. It can happen anywhere. I don't know the specifics of the situation. I don't know any details, so I'm not going to speak on the situation. I just know it's a sad state of affairs. That's all I can tell you. Mr. HTTR, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, update, he was shot in DC, 1000 block of H Street Northeast. Thanks for that update. There you go. Northeast DC. Enough said. Enough said. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01 writes, I don't even care if he never plays a snap. Just be okay. Dude's a beast, so I'll have all the faith in him. I mean, I don't know what this means for his season this year. You know, last thing I'm thinking about is football. They may put him on IR, and that might be the end of his season this year, you know. And all of this is really going to be determined by the severity of the gunshots, where they were, you know, how he feels, and you know, how this impacts his movement and things of that nature. So, you know, depending on the severity, how many times he was shot, where was he shot, you know, all of those things are going to be considered. I'd venture to say that there's no football in his future for the time being. You know, for the first half of the season, I'd assume he'd be put on the PUP list now. And Jarrett Patterson will probably take his spot on the roster. This may even prompt you to keep two backs now. You know, remove Brian Robinson from the roster altogether, PUP list wise. And because you need now, Antonio Gibson goes back to your lead back, right? Goes back to your number one running back. This causes all kinds of dilemmas. I mean, now that I'm sitting here thinking about this, if Antonio Gibson goes back to being your number one running back, he can't return your kickoffs too, or at least you don't want him to do that. I mean, this changes everything that you've pretty much started to devise as a scheme going into the season, because he was going to be a weapon. You were going to move him around. If he's your, you know, first and second down rock toter, he can't be running down there, running back, you know, returning kickoffs. And now you got to keep another back that looks like Antonio Gibson. Like Jarrett Patterson isn't that guy. He looks more like a J.D. McKissick. So you now may have to keep Jonathan Williams and maybe Jarrett Patterson as well. Or you can just keep Jonathan Williams. But to me, the next guy up was Jarrett Patterson. So I don't know how that plays around. Now you may have to keep a seventh receiver and keep Alex Erickson and allow him to return kickoffs and punts. Like this changes the way you think about everything. Now they got to play around with some stuff, potentially. I don't know. You know, we'll see. It gets a little murky now. It gets a little dicey. The roster becomes in flux a bit because something that was a certainty, something that was more of a lock and a guarantee. They're going to keep three backs. There was probably conversation floating around about a fourth, but I think they ultimately settled on three backs. Now, all of a sudden, is it four backs? The loss of Brian Robinson, does that necessitate that you keep two backs in the place of him being there? Because Jarrett Patterson, we saw last year, isn't a good backup to Antonio Gibson. That's why they drafted Brian Robinson. If they thought that Jarrett Patterson was a good enough running back that could take the spot of an Antonio Gibson, there is no drafting of Brian Robinson. They drafted Brian Robinson because he looks like Antonio Gibson and gives them that kind of ball carrier with the size and physicality. And it allows them to go in a different direction with Antonio Gibson. So clearly Jarrett Patterson doesn't give you what you're looking for. So do you just go to Jonathan Williams, who does give you a little bit of that? More of a physical in between the tackles runner. I don't know. Hard to say. I think this complicates matters. It really, truly does. Barry Gray Beats, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Will Morris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Will writes, sometimes it feels like we're snake bit, Lou. But all I'm going to say is let's keep taking care of us and ours. I hate hearing things like this, Lou, but thanks for being there to help us process through. Again, I talk about this all the time. It's not just me, man. You guys are therapeutic for me. It's not just you guys and me being therapeutic for you. It's a very mutually beneficial dynamic because again, when I first heard this, it was hard for me to wrap my brain around this. You know, it was ridiculously insane. I didn't make sense. Take command for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Take command for life, right? Stop with the Antonio Gibson jokes. Not funny. I can't stress that enough. I literally just finished watching the Manti Te'o Untold documentary. And me being a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan, it brought back a lot of memories. Not all of them were very good. As I remember that situation playing itself out when it first happened and not really understanding because catfishing wasn't a big thing back then. And to see the emotion of him talking about the memes and all of the mean things that happened to him over that whole situation, right? And people started to talk about him being gay and things of that nature, rumors starting to spread. And it was hurtful. Like, this shit isn't funny. Like, you're talking about someone's life here and livelihood. You know, just because you want to joke. And this is the shit that really bothers me with social media, which is why I'm rarely on it. And if I didn't have to be on it because it was part of my livelihood, I wouldn't. Because too many young people are out there, too many people in general. It's not all young people, but most of the time it is young people. They want to try to have a laugh at somebody's expense. And so they don't care about who they hurt in the process of that. They just want to be able to get likes and have people laughing. They think it's funny. Like they're in high school again. Like, you ain't 15. This shit matters, and people's lives are at stake. Just because you want to get a little laugh out there and have people thinking it's funny. Shit's not funny. Shit is repulsive, is what it is. Grow the hell up. Let's see. Taylor West, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. I thought that Barry Gray Beats had a comment. Maybe he does. If I see it, I'll read it. But Taylor West writes, Lou, from this point this season, from this point on, the season goes to B-Rob. Thank God he is still here. Appreciate all you do, fam. Appreciate you as well. And I mean, I don't have to say it. Again, I don't know the severity of the situation and whether he'll be able to play or not this year. I'm going to err on the side of caution and say that he won't be able to play at least for the first half of the season. And yeah, there will be a lot of that. This gives me, you know what this reminds me of? Like, this is giving me 2020 vibes all over again with Ron Rivera and his cancer. Remember, that happened literally right before the season started. I mean, we were right in this same area of the season, you know, the same pocket, if you will, of, you know, the season right before the season started. I think his was a little bit further, you know, earlier in the camp, though, right? Because he was having some issues, you know, getting through practice and things of that nature. And there would be times where he wouldn't be there because he was getting chemotherapy. But, you know, the players were going to dedicate that season to Ron, right? Like, that was a big deal. This is kind of on the same lines of that, where, okay, you know, B-Rob is with us still, thank God. But now we got a higher purpose for this season. Now we're dedicating this to our man, Brian Robinson. So I do think there is a bit of that. And I think the players will use that as a motivating factor and a rallying cry. I mean, you can spin this into a positive but you never want to see anything like this happen. But knowing how players and athletes work, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to spin this into a positive, and they should use this as a positive and a motivating factor to help them succeed. Is that we're doing this not only for us, but our brother who's not able to do this with us, who should be here taking the field with us, but instead is watching us. We're going to make sure we hold it down for him as well. So I could definitely see that, Taylor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, King of the North, writes, I hate it for him. He waited so long to get his chance at Bama and then made the most of his opportunity here, was on the verge of starting his first NFL game. Shaking my head. Absolutely. You know, and it's well documented that he waited a long time at Alabama. You know, could have easily said, you know what, I'm transferring, you know, but he didn't. He waited it out, waited for his opportunity. It finally came, and he didn't waste that opportunity, made the most of it, and, you know, was prepared to do the same thing in the NFL, wait his turn, buy his time. And then his opportunity came a lot sooner than he probably thought it was going to. And he took advantage of it, just like he did at Bama. And like, as you just mentioned, was on the verge of starting his first NFL game. I'm not counting him out yet. Okay. I have no idea what we're dealing with here and what the severity of the situation is. I'm not going to just cast him off and say that he's not going to start week 1 against Jacksonville. The assumption is he's not. But I've never been shot before. I can't speak to, you know, the process that you go through to get back to playing, not just being normal and doing normal activities, but being back in a position. This is a physically demanding sport, right? This isn't baseball, you know. This is, hell, it ain't even basketball. Like, he plays probably the most physically demanding position of running back. So I would assume that he's not playing for an indefinite amount of time. What that number is, I can't tell you. Easy does it. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Easy does it writes, sad stuff for real. The fact people are trying to make fun of the situation, unbelievable. Prayers to him and his family. I'm not surprised anymore by the shit I see anymore with the popularity of social media and people being able to hide behind their computer screens or their cell phones or, you know, whatever they're on. It's so easy for people to make fun of situations that aren't funny, you know, and there'll always be 2 or 3 other dumbasses that find the shit funny too. But for the most part, most people are really, you know, in these situations, they're really sensitive to the situation. But there's always going to be 1 or 2 idiots that aren't, that think it's, that want to make a joke out of it for clout because they're clout chasing. And, you know, that's the shit that happens on social media on a regular basis now. So I'm not surprised anymore when I see that. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Trevor Patch writes, my stomach is in knots. Prayers for the young man. I literally, my heart was like in my throat until I read the line non-threatening and non-life-threatening and stable. That's when my heart went from my throat back down into my chest where it belongs. So I totally get it. It definitely prayers up. Taylor West, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. My guy Taylor West writes, Lou, from this point, the season goes to B-Rob. Read this one already. I think you felt like you didn't put it. If you super chat, I'm going to find your comment. I appreciate you. Glad the kid is still here with us. Appreciate all you do, fam. Likewise. All right, let's see. Red Wing 01. And just so y'all know, the clown that made that comment earlier, he's not a Redskin fan. Okay, he's not a Commanders fan. Okay, he's a Carolina Panthers fan. So don't trip about it. Okay, don't even worry about that. Just keep it pushing. Don't even invest energy in that shit. I shouldn't have invested any energy. I wish I would have read it, the comment, because I just assumed that nobody would be dumb enough to write something like that for a super chat. I should have seen that shit and not even read that shit, not even put it up on the screen. I feel like a dumbass for even putting that shit up. Red Wing 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, to all the people making AG jokes, respectfully F off. Dude almost lost a teammate tonight, and he got people joking about him putting out a hit. Must be devastated right now, and this is how we act, shaking my damn head. Exactly. And that's the part that frustrates me about social media, is that people lose the human element and aspect of things. Like when we put things in its proper perspective, at the end of the day, we're all humans. Okay. We all feel, we have emotions, we go through shit. And people think that they can make a joke out of something and it doesn't hurt. Like, because you can't put a face to it, it's almost like a white collar crime, right? Because you can't, no one's actually physically being hurt. It's okay. No, shit is, it still hurts. Anyway, I digress. I'm with you, man. Dude almost lost a teammate, a brother tonight. Shit's not funny at all. Ryan A, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, don't care about football. He is 23. Facts. At this point, I'm not even going to do the 53-man roster projection video tonight. I'll put that out tomorrow. I'll do a separate video for that, because I feel exactly the same way that you do. Like, this isn't the time for it now. I'll put that video out tomorrow, and it'll be what it is. Hopefully we'll hear from Ron Rivera and company tomorrow about this situation, and he'll be able to shed more light on this whole, traumatic situation, and, help us kind of process everything, and then we can move forward, but I'm with you 110%. Football is the last thing that should matter right now. So I'm not even going to do the 53-man roster projection video tonight. I'll do that one tomorrow. Lorenzo Simpson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Zoe writes, not going to lie, I had a Sean Taylor flashback. What the F? It definitely gave me those vibes. Definitely get that. That's why my heart was in my throat, because it was like deja vu. I feel that. Definitely feel that. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Mr. Ron B, writes, prayers to the young man and all victims of needless and stupid behavior like this. I'm sick of stories like this, Lou. It really ticks me off. Same here, OG, triple OG. These stories never get old. And, the ones that are publicized are the ones like this, with someone in a high profile situation. So we hear about it, but this shit happens every single day, multiple times a day. And it's sickening, and that's why I'm very cautious of where I go, who I surround myself with, because it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I know people, especially outside the fan base, going to use this as ammo against the cursed team. Now is not the time. Have some empathy, have some class. You can't stop people from being who they are. You can't stop people from being who they are. So, and I don't try. That's not my job. I don't get upset about it anymore. I just tried to remove that negativity from my life. This is why I told you I don't spend a ton of time on social media, because it's a very dark place. A lot of dark humor, a lot of people being childish, saying things that they wouldn't say to someone's face. It's a lot of that happens. And I'm a really positive dude, and I like to keep the aura around me positive. So I just can't deal with that kind of stuff too often, because it drains you. It drains the positivity from you. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Mr. Ron B. Triple OG, who writes, and to all those fools making stupid comments in here, act like you got some GD sense. Y'all almost got Mr. Ron B out here cussing. So y'all know y'all acting a fool and showing y'all behind. Cut your nonsense out. Let's see. TNT Tiny. TN Tiny. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, prayers go out to B-Rob and his family. Hopefully he recovers soon. And thank God that he is in stable condition. And to all the people out there making fun of the situation, go F-thing bleep yourself. I second that comment. Red Wing 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, oh yeah, and to the fantasy crowd, just don't. I'm not a fantasy guy. I don't speak on fantasy very often because I don't play it. So I don't want to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. Somebody earlier said they had picked him in fantasy, and then this news broke. It is what it is. Hopefully we learn more about this situation tomorrow. I assume we're going to hear from the organization, more likely than not, Ron Rivera. And hopefully he's able to shed more light on the situation and really from more of a Brian Robinson standpoint and less of an organizational standpoint. Obviously, they have to move forward. Like, they can't sit and mourn about it. Again, he's not dead. So, I don't want to make it seem like he's no longer with us. He is. But, that's a tough situation, because I know the guys in that locker room, and this is where that psychology background that I have comes into play. I know those guys in the locker room are thinking it could happen to any of us. Any of us. If it happens to Brian, it could happen to me. Head on a swivel. Know where you are in the city. Be careful. You hate that it has to be that way, but understand, because you're good in your hood back in your hometown doesn't mean you good in this hood here in DC. So just be mindful of where you are. And I don't know if he knew exactly where he was. Shouldn't matter. Honestly, I'm not making excuses for nobody. Shit shouldn't matter. Because you have a nice car, because you got a nice chain, shouldn't mean that you're in danger of being robbed and possibly shot and killed, possibly. I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. Anyway. That's going to do it for me. your man Louie T. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, glide to the side, allow you guys to enjoy the rest of your evening, what's left of it. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll do the 53-man roster thing. As I mentioned, tonight's not the night for it. So we'll do it tomorrow. And I'll see if Ron has anything to say. If he doesn't, I'll just put it out. If, maybe Ron has something to say on the situation that will lend itself to more clarity, and then, maybe be able to play around with it. But I mean, I've got some thoughts surrounding it now, but we'll wait until we hear from the organization, and we'll go about it that way. So with that said, we'll get out of here. I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Post up and take command. Got a super chat here from Happy. Thank you for the super chat, Happy. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hope he gets a chance to shine. He was just a rookie. Okay, don't speak. I'm very sensitive to these things. Don't speak in past tense as if he's not here. He is a rookie. He wasn't is not the right word to use there. He is a rookie. Okay, is past tense as if he expired. He's still here. So is what you're looking for there. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe. I tell you guys this all the time. It takes on a greater meaning when you hear about something like this, but stay safe. We'll reconvene tomorrow, hopefully under much better pretenses. And prayers up to Brian Robinson, the rest of his teammates, the rest of his Commander family, because they're being impacted by this. To the fans out there, like, we're invested in this. So this shit hits home to us as well. We don't know him personally, but he plays for our favorite team. So by extension, he's family. I talk about this all the time. Once you're a part of this family, you're a part of this family. He's a part of the family. So prayers up to Brian Robinson and all of those who love, support, cheer, root, all of that stuff for Brian Robinson. Take care of yourselves. Speedy recovery to Brian Robinson. And hopefully we'll learn more about the situation tomorrow. Till then, you guys take care. God bless, and good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.